Listen, Paul Heyman, the question on a lot of people's minds is Dana White comes out a couple days ago, and he says Brock Lesnar's coming back to UFC. And there are a lot of WWE fans that are pissed that Brock's going back to UFC, but even more pissed at Dana White because you're like, why would you say this? Don't get in the way of WrestleMania. Wait till after.
It's not in the way of WrestleMania.
Do you worry that fans are going to see that and go like, oh, I mean, we remember what happened at WrestleMania 20 when we knew that Brock was leaving. If fans have this idea
completely different circumstance. Listen,
tell me.
Brock Lesnar is very task-oriented, and he learned that growing up on a farm in Webster, South Dakota. Brock had to get up every morning. 5 a.m. he had to milk the cows. Now at 8 a.m. he had to collect the eggs from the chickens, but he never thought about the chickens and the eggs at 5 a.m. because he knew the task was to milk the cows. Mm-hmm. When he got at 8 a.m. to the chicken coop and to get the eggs from the chickens, he also knew that 11 o'clock in the morning he had to get the hay from the barn to the truck. But he didn't think about the hay from the barn to the truck because that was at 11 a.m. The task was the 8 a.m. task, which was the eggs from the chickens. Once he completed that task, mastered it better than anybody, then he went to move the hay from the barn. Brock Lesnar is task-oriented. Brock Lesnar's contract expires this Sunday night. Brock Lesnar is not sticking around to be number 2. Forget about invoking rematch clauses. Forget about all that other nonsense. He's either the champion or he's not here, and he will pursue the UFC Heavyweight Championship. Now, he can pursue the UFC Heavyweight Championship as the Universal Champion, or he can pursue the UFC Championship as a former Universal Champion. But he's not sticking around WWE for me to introduce him as the former reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion, Brock Lesnar.
Right.
It's just not happening.
He's not interested in chasing it again.
No. So, this reign will define who Brock Lesnar is as a Universal Champion. If Brock Lesnar happens to lose the title to Roman Reigns this Sunday, Brock Lesnar is moving on to UFC. If Brock Lesnar defends the title successfully against Roman Reigns this Sunday, then there's a lot of leverage for Brock Lesnar to talk to Vince McMahon about this Monday about how to move forward with the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar. But the task is this Sunday.
Right.
The task is to put on the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time at the greatest WrestleMania of all time, and that's what we have in mind. That's milking the cows and not thinking about the chickens and the eggs. That's getting the eggs from the chickens without thinking about the hay that needs to go from the barn to the truck.
Right.
Task-oriented.
What about you? Do you go where Brock goes, or do you suppose? I mean, because there's multiple roles. I mean, Brock Lesnar did not introduce Paul Heyman to the world of pro wrestling. Obviously, you know, there's plenty that you could still do here, whether Brock's here or not. But you have been by Brock's side for a lot of what he does.
This has been the defining run of my career. The legacy and the body of work that Brock and I have put together since 2002 speaks for itself and would be very tough to compete with. If Brock Lesnar stays, I stay with him. Mm-hmm. If Brock Lesnar leaves after this Sunday, I'm going to leave too. It doesn't mean I can't come back. I'm not saying I'm leaving forever. I'm not saying I'm retired. I'm never coming back. The hell with WWE. I'm not saying anything like that. But just to come back this Monday and jump into a situation with somebody else would be disrespectful to the effort that Brock Lesnar and I have put into our performance, into our tandem, into our shtick. Not that Brock Lesnar does shtick.
I don't think he would appreciate that word.
Oh, you know what? He doesn't speak Yiddish, so he doesn't really know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Is that one of those Jew words, Paul? Yes, Brock.